Thank you, and welcome, Cardigan faculty, Mr. and Mrs. Day, and students. We meet today in the closing moments of the 2021 academic year, a year unlike any other. One in which we have been tested time and again to overcome unforeseen obstacles, to creatively handle new circumstances, and retain the essential elements of the Cardigan experience. To close this year together is a testament to this community's resolve, courage, and willingness to never back down from the relentless challenge that we have faced. Today, we will celebrate your accomplishments, and we will be led by our next school leader, Preston Merrick.
Good morning, and welcome to Mr. and Mrs. Day, faculty and staff, and my fellow Cardigan brothers. I am honored to be addressing you today on the last day of the semester. Yes, we've made it. We can all leave with our heads held high, knowing that we have persevered through one of the most difficult times in modern history. The pandemic has forced our school community to adjust to new realities of isolated learning and new ways of interacting with each other. Yet we persisted. We were quarantined for weeks at a time, yet we persisted. We went about most of our day shrouded in an uncomfortable face mask, yet we persisted. Some have even lost loved ones, yet we persisted and have made it through yet another term shaped by the realities of COVID. I can genuinely say that I'm proud of all of you. Yes, this year was different, and many of the newer students may have been cheated out of the full Cardigan experience. But this in itself is an experience. Just think of the stories you'll have to tell your grandchildren when they're growing up. You'll be able to teach them skills in building friendships in challenging situations, and most of all, patience. Patience, that in time we will grow stronger. You've waited patiently day after day for the opportunity to play sports you love and to compete against outside teams. And even though that did not happen, you were mature enough to be content with playing amongst your teammates. I must acknowledge the faculty and the staff for their hard work in ensuring that we continued our academics, athletics, and more importantly, our friendships with hardly any gaps in between. It was a collaboration that required their swift thinking and creativity and our willingness to adhere to the rules, which kept you safe. Despite it all, we were still able to have fun experiences such as the amazing race. I remember fondly all of us sprinting to various locations in an effort to complete our tasks. The polar bear challenge. The first day had most boys rushing back to our dorms, aching for a hot shower. But as we dived in each day, the water seemed to get more and more tolerable. This was a huge achievement for all of us. Today, we celebrate that and many more of our achievements and efforts throughout the year. You, the class of 2021, have shown us what it means to be a true Cougar, to have a fighting spirit. It is evident that each of us has fought hard to be better in all aspects of our school life. I applaud you for facing your fears and trying new things, whether it be mountain biking or participating in a play. We have also been a strong tower for our fellow classmates who needed our help and emotional support when they felt isolated and unable to carry on. Thank you for your strength and for being your brother's keeper. You've ended the year strong and deserve to be recognized. For many of us, today is our final time seeing each other until the fall. For some of us, we are uncertain when our paths will cross again. I hope you choose not to wipe this year from your memory, but rather remember how you persevered through a difficult time. You see, in life, there will be many circumstances that you will not be able to control, but you can change your attitude to overcome any challenge. Remember what the class of 2021 has taught you. You can't control the wind, but you can certainly adjust the sails to reach your destination. I'd like to welcome Ms. Fideli to present the Dorm Citizenship Award.
Thank you, Preston. The Dorm Citizenship Award recognizes students who, in the eyes of their fellow residents, have been the most positive, kind, and helpful citizens throughout the year in their respective dorms. Today, we celebrate 9 students who have earned this recognition. So, Brewster 1, John McNair. Brewster 2, Kunhu Park. Clark Morgan, Michael Hui. Day students, Eston Elku. Hayward 2, Jason Cabrera. Hinman 1, Jack Lynn. Hinman 2, Kuhn Hui. McCusker 1, Jake Lim. And McCusker 2, Willie Park. Congratulations, boys. Next up is Mr. Sinclair with the 2021 John Dudley Clark Community Service Award.
Thank you, Ms. Fideli. Mr. Dudley Clark was a great leader in our community, and he served in Cardigan for over 30 years. He'd do all kinds of little things. He'd also do all these crazy big things to help you guys out. He'd deliver mail to your rooms, large packages. He'd drive and wait and care for injured boys on hospital runs. And the tradition of handing out donuts at student morning break were only some of the ways that Mr. Clark served others. This was a very different year for us, and we weren't able to partner with a lot of our nonprofit organizations where you boys would go out in the community and volunteer your time. However, Reagan Moore was unbelievable this year. He truly embodied Mr. Clark's actions of kindness and serving others. Reagan would find time to help out in the wood shop, in the art room, in the community garden. He'd help build mountain bike trails. Regardless of the activity, Reagan was always ready to serve and would do so with a smile on his face. It gives me great pleasure to give the Dudley Clark Community Service Award to Reagan Moore.
Next up are Mr. Forrest and Ms. Silich with the Art Awards.
I'm excited to present this award to an exceptionally deserving young artist. From the very first day of class to the final project, this student excelled in creating meaningful art and displaying a wide range of skills in the art room. This artist dove into his projects, but also helped his peers throughout the year. He regularly took time from his own work to show his friends a helpful tip while ensuring his own art reached its full potential. Regardless of the medium, this student worked to develop depth in each assignment, and the results led to a stellar portfolio. Not only did he excel here on campus, but he also received a Regional Gold Key Scholastic Art Award. It was a delight to have him in class, and he will surely continue to impress in the coming years. It brings me pleasure to present the 7th grade Scholastic Art Award to Mono Levine.
This young man was new to Cardigan this year. Due to the pandemic, I did not have the pleasure of getting to know him until this spring in his 8th grade arts elective. Right from the get-go, this student artist dove into his artwork, demonstrating a level of artistic expression that was clearly above and beyond. So often, my students will hear that art is another form of expression, another language to convey a message or a story. This artist has clearly done that with his work. We saw this with his passion for anime and the Japanese culture. The message of plastic pollution came through in his most recent work, seen in the Suei Gallery. I have no doubt that he will continue to share more messages of hope, wonder, and intrigue in his future work. I look forward to continuing to support his growth as an artist in his 9th grade year. It gives me great pleasure to award the 8th grade Scholastic Art Award to Kun Hui.
It seems so simple. You show up, you step forward, you walk out on the stage. But then you add lines that need memorizing, blocking and cues, character development, and the very real probability that things will not go exactly according to plan, and you'll have to improvise. And you do all this in front of your entire community to see. Courage is necessary to take that first step forward and volunteer. What seems terrifying at first gradually becomes thrilling and exciting, and in the end, you find that you survived and want to do it again. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. This year's recipient of the Underclassmen Theater Arts Award is a true Renaissance man of sorts. Rather than specializing in a few areas, he excels in many. And in COVID times, when the performing arts have taken a punch to the gut, he inspires us to take a breath of fresh air without a mask. So it is a great honor to recognize this young man because he contributes so much in so many areas. And I'll just highlight a few qualities that have earned him this award. He works well with others. He has played many parts, but sometimes his role is to be part of a group. And yet he brings the same level of energy playing one of the boasting teens in this fall's play in a grove as he did in his role as the jaded number 9 in the recent spring production of In the Forests of the Night. In fact, he started his Cardigan career as part of an ensemble in Shakespeare's The Tempest, no lines, one of a group of 9, working for the betterment of a show. He never chafed at being cast in a role others would never consider major. He puts in the time and work to develop interesting characters. As number 9, he convincingly portrayed a cynical student who has played the game once too often, an attitude that is far from how you would describe him in real life. In his time at Cardigan, he has played comedic roles such as Lou, the crazy, nerdy toilet paper hoarder who wanted to impress the girls, the blind lover, literally, and as well as one of the cave dwarfs in Toon Kaboom in the Cave of Doom. Even within the discipline of theater arts, he is quite versatile. Whatever the role, you can be sure that he will make the words on the page come to life in an entertaining and engaging way for the audience. Please join me in acknowledging this year's recipient of the Underclassmen Theater Arts Award, Eston Elkert.
Next up is Mr. Franco with the Music Award.
Thank you, Preston. The Underclassmen Music Award is awarded to the student who has shown outstanding excellence, commitment, dedication, teamwork in the field of music, excellence in the music class, and utilizing his musical chops to display the Cardigan core values and share his music with the community. This young man is incredibly talented, and I know he's been talented for the 2 years, now 3, that he has been here. However, 2 years ago, last year even, I wasn't so sure if I would ever be standing here giving this young man the award. However, over the last few months, there have been a few silver linings, and one of them was that this man went home and he practiced and he practiced and he practiced every day. And the people who I spoke to said, yes, this young man, he has been telling me he's been practicing very, very hard. In prior years, I always heard about it based on rumors. This man was an incredible piano player. He was always eager to learn new songs, new genres, and eventually new instruments. And he came back this year, sure enough, and he lived up to all of those rumors. And not only did his talent skyrocket, so did his commitment, so did his curiosity, and so did his relationships with fellow musicians and friends. And it culminated in an incredible performance in the fall concert, where he was one of a small group of leaders in his concert project who really took control and set a very strong tone, one of dedication, showing the way to some of his less experienced teammates. And that was just the beginning. We saw him again more recently in the spring concert. He was often a staple in our Friday night coffee house meetings with Mr. Burritt, and so much more. Not only was he performing with his music class, but he also performed as part of another student-run band this year, not on his usual instrument of the keyboard, but on the drums, which I believe he may have just recently learned for that performance alone. Just some of the many other traits, many of the reasons that Mr. Leighton Glover is this year's recipient of the Underclassmen Music Award.
Next up is Mr. Burt with the Woodworking Award.
The Golden Hammer Award is presented once a year to honor a student who demonstrates excellence in design, engineering, and construction, and goes on to produce creative and innovative projects that showcase strength, versatility, and innovative ideas. The project he selects and builds does not have to be elaborate or complicated. It should showcase a variety of skills that the student had to learn and master through diligence and daily commitment to improving. Designing and constructing a woodworking project is a valuable process, one that will be used for the rest of the student's life. He needs to picture what the end result is and figure out all the steps that are required to get there. This is what the student receives, and this is an example of the same hammer. This I've had for about 32 years, and just like good Cardigan solid character, these things can last forever. So I built countless houses and projects with this, and whoever receives this hammer is going to be able to hang on to it for the rest of their life. This year's recipient chose a project that required class time, study hall time, Sunday open workshop time. Precise cuts using a jig were essential in order to achieve the accuracy required for all of his chessboard squares to come together without any unwanted spaces between them. The project tested his patience, determination, and grit, beginning in the winter semester and wrapping up in the spring semester. In the end, he produced a project of incredible beauty and elegance. This year's Golden Hammer is awarded to Teo Ryder.
Next up is Miss Lloyd with the Barney Award for Creative Writing.
The Edward Barney Writing Competition is an annual creative writing competition awarded to the student who responds in a specific amount of time with the most creative and interesting story based upon a writing prompt. This year's winner chose to write about the prompt that included the back of a human standing in the entryway of a tunnel, holding a light in their hand that illuminated the edges of the tunnel. A common theme for this prompt was to create a gaming world and scene. This year's winner stepped outside of this gaming norm. Here is a short excerpt from the story as the main character steps into the tunnel that illustrates the image in the prompt. The thought that I am still here on this earth with the rare chance to escape the slums and Dustin's chance ended abruptly kills me. I find a flare and start to walk down the tunnels. The flare shows all the graffiti on the walls, the names and the art, if you can call it that cover every inch of the tunnel for almost a mile. You can find the name of every kid from the slums in this tunnel. To the slums, this tunnel is an archive, really. I walk for about half a mile before I reach the one that I am looking for. There, in red spray paint, is Dustin's name and my name. The reason that this is more of an archive is that when someone that has their name in the tunnel dies, their closest friend has to go and write RIP under their name. I find a bottle of paint that is almost gone, but is just enough for me to write RIP. For composing a creative and gut-wrenching story about a young man who could have been, as told by his best friend, it gives me great pleasure to award the Edward A. Barney Writing Expression Prize to Chris Kinney.
Next up is Mr. Frost with the James and Marion Sportsmanship Award.
Thank you, Preston. First, I'd like to again thank all our parents for your unwavering support this year. It was a great year, and we could not have done it without you. I'd like to thank my entire athletic department team and all of our coaches for all your dedication and time and everything you've done to make this program work this year. And without a doubt, I want to thank all of our student athletes because your unwavering competitive spirit and dedication to getting better made this possible and made it a ton of fun to work with you this year. So thank you to all of you. Coach Marion worked at Cardigan as the athletic director for over 47 years. He was a teacher, coach, and a mentor to everyone in the community. He was the kind of person we want all of our boys to be. He ended every conversation with, "How can I help you?" which is reflected in his motto of "help the other fella." Coach Marion always had a smile on his face and encouraging words, a steadfast presence of integrity, work ethic, and dedication to his family, his friends, and our school. The plaque that hangs on the Marion Center in his name reads, the James N. Marion Sportsmanship Award, awarded to the student athlete in each grade for their enduring athletic sportsmanship, who in the eyes of the entire coaching staff best embodies the true spirit of the Cardigan Mountain School athletic program. The 6th grade 2001 James N. Marion Sportsmanship Award goes to Channing Rice. This year's 7th grade award goes to 2 boys, so please both of you come down as I call your names. Indiana Grossbard and Mono Levine. Also in the 8th grade, we had 2 boys again tie for this award. Mateo Escalante and Leighton Glover.
Next up are Mr. Welsh and Mr. Capro with the scholastic recognition.
Thank you, Preston. Cardigan Mountain School provides a rigorous academic program. Teachers design unit and lesson plans to help each boy grow into his best self and to find a passion in learning. There are written exams, Socratic seminars, performance-based assessments, and project-based learning that forces students to wrestle with new ideas, reflect on personal beliefs, and demonstrate mastery through application and analysis. The winners of this year's Scholastic Awards have embraced our habits of learning, and in doing so, have earned exemplary marks. Mr. Capro will now begin calling up these boys who have earned an award. May I please ask that you come up by grade level, and we will take our picture all together.
Our recipients in 6th grade. For science, Terry Langetig. For math, Leo Kim. For humanities, Ramsey Madan. And for peaks, Keanu Giannini. For 7th grade, for humanities, Willie Park. For science, Jake Lim. For math, John Park. For world language, Indiana Grossbard. For English as a second language, Do-hyun Kim. And for peaks, Toshi Moriyama. Toshi and a few other boys departed campus earlier today, and in a small ceremony, he received his award last night.
And for the 8th grade, the English award is presented to Mateo Escalante. The Math Department award is presented to Leo Sim. The History Award is presented to Reed Geldenzoff. The Science Award is presented to Madison Tian. The World Language Award is presented to Gustavo Struck. The English as a Second Language Award is presented to Jack Lynn. And the 8th grade Peaks Award is presented to Sanders Morris.
Next up is Mr. Day with our closing remarks.
I want to congratulate all of you, those of you who were recognized today, and all of you, our students, our boys, for a truly remarkable year. Whether you were here with us on the point or working remotely on the other side of the world, Cardigan prides itself on meeting boys where they are and taking them as far as they can go. This year, we all met each other and took our whole community as far as it could go. It wasn't always the adults in the community who were leading the way. We needed and received crucial buy-in from every member of this team. I often say that as the 9th grade goes, so goes the school. And that's true enough. Our 9th graders, your graduating brothers, have been extraordinary. But they couldn't have done it, any of it, without you, their little brothers. In ordinary years, we're all here for commencement. We all get to celebrate the achievements of our soon-to-be graduates. Because of our circumstances with COVID, and in order to limit the amount of people on campus, we've necessarily made some changes to how we end the year. I'm sorry that you underclassmen will not be here to give our 9th graders a proper send-off, but I urge you, wherever you are, to tune in to the live stream at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning to watch. In the course of any year at Cardigan, tremendous growth occurs to both the individuals and the school as a whole. This is how you all grow from boys to men, and how Cardigan continues to evolve to serve as a catalyst and partner in that growth. It would be an understatement to say that this year has been any year at Cardigan. For some of you, this is your first year here, and you know nothing different. All I can say is, wait till next year. It should feel quite a bit different. For those of you who have experienced Cardigan in pre-COVID times, you know the sacrifices that were made by all in order for us to not only get through this year, but to find a way to succeed despite the obstacles. Cardigan endeavors to provide you boys not with answers, but with agency or the resources, power, and permission to solve the problems that you will confront throughout your lives. Each of you, each of us, will encounter scary and seemingly insurmountable obstacles at points during our lives. Fellas, this whole year has been one constant confrontation with a series of obstacles. I believe that by deliberately following and aspiring to live by our core values, we find ourselves at the end of this year stronger than we began, as individuals and as a family. Sometimes when I make closing remarks, I will cite a famous philosopher or author who I think has wisdom to share to young scholars like yourselves. I thought of doing that and even had a couple of wise and erudite quotations at the ready, but I realized that you boys don't need that right now. Your lived courage in the face of uncertainty is a better example of grit than any book could offer. Your willingness to sacrifice what you wanted for what we all needed was an apt demonstration of your individual and collective integrity. You respected your teachers, coaches, advisors, dorm parents, and each other. I know you goofed around and sometimes pushed people's buttons, but that's to be expected when living in community. We needed you to live to the highest standards of the school and you did. And we all benefited from that. Finally, you cared for something bigger than yourselves. You helped the other fella in ways we always hoped for, and in ways this year that we never knew we'd need. The examples of this compassionate disposition are legion. Think for a moment of an example of self-sacrifice for the good of the community that you witnessed at some point this year, either from a fellow student or an adult in the community. It shouldn't take too long. So instead of standing before you, spouting off some brainy advice or takeaway lesson for you to forget as soon as you leave, let me just say that you've all lived, struggled, and thrived through one of the most challenging years anyone can remember. That, gentlemen, is something that is inside of you and will be forever. You've earned your scar tissue, and it will make you stronger. That you spent your year here, mostly in person, and surrounded by caring and dedicated professional educators, is your good fortune, and one that was not widely shared by most kids your age around the world. Please thank your parents or whomever made it possible for you to be at Cardigan and gave you this opportunity. After this ceremony, most of you underclassmen will head out for the summer. Please don't leave without seeking out those ninth graders and faculty in our community who have helped you. And let them know how much they mean to you. I guarantee you it will feel great and checks another box of a Cardigan education: gratitude. None of us succeeds on our own. We all need help, and it's appropriate to give thanks to those who help us on our way. Before I close, I want to take a second to recognize the incredible efforts and creative energy of Cardigan's teachers. These people give themselves wholly to you, our boys, and your growth. And this year required unimaginable patience, persistence, and courage from all of them. They are my heroes, and I know that they are yours. Gentlemen, please join me in showing your gratitude to our faculty, these adults who have done more for you this year than you may ever know. Now, it's a little earlier than usual. Heck, there's barely any leaves on the trees yet. But guess what, my little Cardigan brothers? It's summertime. And now, I'll turn it back to next year's school leader, Preston Merrick. Great job today, Preston, and thanks very much. Happy summer, fellas.
Thank you, Mr. Day. Thank you to the faculty for your hard work in exposing us to new things that many of us haven't done before. I remember during football season, we weren't able to have separate teams. That choice was the reason why I am comfortable with speaking to the school. That fall season was the start of a new beginning. I was able to practice, learn, and talk with the whole football team I now call my Cardigan brothers. Us being together looked like what the community is now, a family. This is what I'm looking for in the 2022 school year, a community where everyone is treated equally and we all strive for greatness one step at a time. Cardigan is like a vessel. To move, it needs a community with people from various backgrounds and people who can cooperate while facing many hardships. Even though some of us, unfortunately, won't return, I know that we will never forget the good and bad experiences at Cardigan. Those experiences are what makes us who we are and how we act. Use these experiences to help this vessel move forward and make this your goal, which will make Cardigan an even better school and community. The 2021-2022 school year will only be as good as we make it. I now declare the 2020-2021 school year closed. Have a great summer vacation.